change. He was on slicks. He is on slicks. There's the Simpson and Ellison car going out again after a driver change. That must be John now in the car.
Yeah, it was just starting to rain. Just starting to rain when I came in, but we were broken the rear axle, so we've had to do a quick repair on the axle. But we decided we'd change drivers at the same time. It was getting slippery there, but we'll see in the rain now. But I think our car handles well, so it'll be quicker in the rain than the others. So we're looking forward to it. Thanks.
Well, he's having a bit of break as John Simpson on the circuit. Here comes the Peter Bailey car. I think he's still on slick tires. He's got troubles, boy.
Brian Algar into the banking, unfortunately.
Oh, dear. And he's a big, tall fellow, too. How they fit into those cars are different size drivers because he's a very tall chap. Here's Brian. You know, it's a wake-up call. I'm sure they're going to get that back to the pits. They'll just take him a moment or two to get mobile. Just getting his bearings there. Here's a little Austin Healey Sprite.
That's Josh Dovey's car. And followed by one of those Mercs, the 280E of the Roberts family. Doesn't need wipers, just pushes its way through there.
It does too. And there's Denzel Barner in the little Anglia from Zimbabwe.
Tom Smith in the Edwin Green car.
Well, they're just feeling their way around the circuit because if you're on slicks, you've got a major problem. The car's undrivable.
Well, I think, Roger, in fact, the Mike Nell car there, I'm not sure that they had slick tyres. Anything other than slick tyres. So he's really being very cautious in the 917.
And Don Brains in the Mazda 322 is taking his chances. He just goes past. That scoop on the top of the roof is going down to the aerial, in fact, just to cool everything at the back of the car. Right, it's Neil Lobb now with the safety car out. There's been a couple of cars have been spinning near the Brian Algar Peter Bailey GT40. So they brought the safety car out. Here's the second man in the field. Lobb is in the front, and there's the second man, which is Anthony Coroner's driving that car, I should imagine, at this stage. Subaru in front there, the Marshall Subaru, that safety car coming through. Very nice motor car. They do well in rallying as well.
There you can see Brian Algar's car still stuck against the bank, but the circuit very slippery. This is normally, of course, Roger, where we can get a flood if we get torrential rain. But it looks like the rain's eased up a bit.
It has, and they just need to clear the circuit. This is not because of the rain. They can go on in the rain, because it is an all-weather sport. It gets a bit dicey as an all-weather sport, but it is. There's Gordon Law's little Cortina, and pulling off at the top, there's Joe Shores. A cute liner into the corner. No, he's not. He's going to pull off. So he's pulled off out of the race and just sitting there quietly as up the road comes Alphas and the Pinard Datsun, and there's the Roberts McBeath Mercedes, giving a good account of itself. So they're just going slowly around. They'll be happy with this relief. And there's the Clive Massell Mike O'Sullivan BMW. I don't think that's finished yet. So what's happened there, Gordon? I see it's Teletubby they've got on the windows.
Good description of Gordon at times.
As James McCarty gets ready. Oh, no, he's lacing him into the car, so he's been at the wheel. Right, the Barry Scott car's ready to go. He's sharing with Geert Boertes. They've taped it. Nothing that duct tape can't do. And he's even got the labels of his tyres on there.
And you can see, of course, the tyres much narrower now as he's gone on to the wet weather tyres.
And the narrow tyres work well in the wet.
Much,
in fact,
much safer.
Right, he'll be back in the running. That beautifully turned out little Escort has given a very good account of himself over the year. 149's been cancelled, 40, and that's Sean Cabrita.
Which is a bit slippery. Once the rain started coming down, it got a bit difficult. Difficult to see the braking markers, and just quite hard, but it was good fun. The car's going like a dream. 3 hours in the one car, and it's an Alpha. What can I say?
Good Alpha man, that Manny Cabrita. Right, here's Peter Lindenberg. A long stint there, Dave.
Indeed, and this is the Sean Oliver Steve Pickering 914. Looks like it's a driver change.
As Lindenberg climbs out of the GT40, doing well. They're up into third position now at the moment. Anthony Corrin's the big tall chap. And as I was saying earlier, how do they sort out their seating positions from a reasonably short driver to a tall one?
Well, I presume that the shortest driver has to take precedence, otherwise he can't.
There's his cushion.
There's the answer.
And there's a good old refueling thing they got there, like the 9.0. And I didn't think they had those in the 9.0 days, actually. Right, Neil Lobb now is in first position still, holding it, just feeling the surface. Still damp on the road there. I think they're going over the slick does. No, it's still going. Right, they've got a nice lead. Racing continues. Safety cars back in the pits. There goes Vic Peachy into the pits. Merck comes through. There's the Mike Nell car. That's a relay with Colin Frost car. And the Don Brains Rotary, the 323. There's Denzel Barner from Zim, as we say, and the Green Smith car just behind them. So they'll start to haul it now as they get past the start-finish, knowing that the circuit is raceable.
Well, it's now clear, but looks very greasy, Roger, and everybody going very, very gently, as you can see.
I must say I would too. There's the little Healy comes through. On Brains, you say again, and Barner and the Green Smith MG. Nice to see them. Right, so Anthony Corrin's taken the GT40. What a beauty. Not a wing in sight. Makes it quite skittish, I should imagine, when you want downforce to drive that motor car. Coming towards us, there's Barry Scott's car, looking a little bit second-hand, not too, but still nicely polished.
And that's the Tim Abbott 914, and then, of course, the
Clive
Uno.
Warren. Yeah, Clive Warren. And there, he's back.
He's back. And John Grieve still motoring around in that rather battered-looking Porsche.
He is, Gee whiz, that Porsche's had. Oh, and McLaughlin's car's out. So that's the car. There are not too many out, as we keep saying, Dave. Oh, here's problems. A fire at the back of John Grieve's car.
Is this the commentator's curse, Roger? We shouldn't have mentioned a thing about this Porsche. That is a very large fire. And where the marshals...
Oh, the marshals run. Then there's fire extinguishers are there. Now they've got to get them working. That's a serious fire. I should imagine that's petrol pumping there. It's a turbocharged Porsche, and that pumps fuel in there, and it is hot at the back of that motor car. Trying to get... Here's another fire extinguisher coming too. They've been about 8-9 seconds there. Here it comes. You don't want to breathe that stuff in either. And the marshal's in the middle of it.
John Grieve is out of the car by now because that's a very, very serious fire.
And what that powder does to your car, it's like a rebuild you've got to have after that. There's John getting out now. He's safe in this one. Now he's moved to the side of the road. Just thinking, what has happened to him?
And it's flared again. That's a serious fire. That car's going to be very, very badly damaged.
There's
sadly.
a third extinguisher. That's going to get in everywhere. Anyway, the marshals on the ball. They can't have marshals every meter of the circuit, but they certainly were on the spot with that car. And if you do have a fire, you normally look for marshals that you can have from somebody with a fire extinguisher to put it out. That's serious. Don't breathe that stuff in. That marshal is really a brave one. I mean, that car could just really go up. Right, racing goes on. Here's the traffic jam, and that little Anglia is giving a good account of himself. Look at the size, Dave. The little Mini, when you say a Mini, and that Uno looks like a big luxury saloon, except when the Porsche arrives.
Yeah, and we always thought the Uno was quite a small car, but you're right. But at least Ed Borders is going again after those problems earlier.
Right, here it is again. Here comes now this is just what traffic does here for the leaders. Here he comes now, France Baftour. He's got to find a way through. He goes on the inside, swaps over to the left, and he's through 2 cars in about 100 meters. So that's the type of thing that does happen in this racing. It's just constant passing. Only about 5 cars out of this race so far. So the traffic is in front of him all the time.
And of course, the circuit's still greasy. And as we go through now, there's the Mike O'Sullivan Clive Muscle car going again, which is excellent, with the Fred Koenig Porsche from their relay team.
Yeah, also going well. Nicely turned out Porsche. Had one of the big wing in the back coming up on the Collins Mini. Here he comes. Those Minis are tiny but effective. I remember Pat Sonnenschein, she used to really race it so well in the real 9 hour. She was very quick. And we've seen some quick minis here. That Steve Miller, that supercharged one, gets around too.
That one's still around, but he doesn't race it very much.
That's a pity. Here, right, here's the leader now coming up with France Baftour. You can see the colour of his helmet. It's just traffic that he's got to pass all the time. He comes up in the Edwin Green car, and I see the other Porsches in the picture. Now have a look. Now you've got to go left and right, and it is so powerful. Comes up in Vic Peachy's car here. He takes him on the left. He's passed 4 cars on the way to the Goodyear sweep.
And of course, he's got to be a little careful now if he gets offline where the damp patches are. He could get himself into serious trouble.
Right, that little yellow dot is the Ben van der Westhuizen. They're sharing the relay team with Mark du Toit. They've done very well. As we saw, they were 7th after the first hour. Collins comes through. 23 is that incredible Renault Dauphine. Staying there with the best.
That's Frank Copping and Bruce Pidwell.
And they're giving a good account of themselves. There's the old dart with the hood on there. And Ben van der Westhuizen one goes particularly well, as does that Mark du Toit one, I must say. As Neil Lobb comes past, or is it Bernie comes on? No, it's Neil Lobb driving the car, comes past Ben. And up on the 914 of Abbott.
Of course, he's taking similar problems as the 956. He's much faster and he's weaving his way through the traffic.
And the lights come on here for the Anthony Corrin car. Oh, Westhuizen out the side of the road. It's a pity. I don't often see Alphas actually at the side of the road, I must say. Those 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, double overhead cam. Remember when they first arrived, everybody thought, what technology? Now everybody's got it. Right, here it is now. This is the Corrin car. They're just feeling the surface out. The times are starting to rise, and we will get on this damp patch. You don't want to throw it away or spin it. You might stall it, and then you're in big trouble. He's taking it very easy. And then you just hoof it out of the corner. Tires get a grip. I think it's on slicks now, I should imagine.
I think they are, and they're being very, very cautious. He doesn't want to stick it in the barrier. The Don Brains Mazda with the Pappas and Costas Tiga Porsche behind them. The track very, very dry there now.
I mean, Don Brains used to race that car 20 years ago. Right, the 2-hour mark is up. It's time for pit stops.
The last stint was extremely slippery. We came in halfway through for rain tyres. Guys were spinning off left, right and centre. I spun off and decided to come in and change the tyres, and then thereafter it went well. Now the track's dried up, so we've come in and Josh's turn to go and have a pedal.
That, of course, Zach Speed replica, like the car that won in 1975 with Hans Heyer in the 9 Hour.
And what over here looks like air conditioning in front of that Serena. If you want to cool tyres and brakes, there's the way to do it, Dave.
That's more trunking in there than an average building, I think.
And a cat that doesn't fit too well, all the fuel has gone in, also balances the weight in that motor car. Here's the positions after 2 hours. Lawrence and Lob still in the lead ahead of Corin and Lindenberg in the GT40. Costas and Pappas doing well. France Pretorius is 4th now, and the Detroit Dart is 5th. So Bernie, hour and 10 to go, and you got a 4-lap lead. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so far. Let's hope it looks like it's going to dry. We came in just at the right time. We calculated 27 laps for fuel, and it surged on the 27th lap, which indicates to me that I now need to come in. And we did our pit stop, I think, under 2 minutes, putting in about 50 litres of fuel. We've got a rather quick filling system. And yes, at the moment, Neil is driving, and we're 4 laps ahead of Peter Lindenberg.
You're an old hand at this, eh?
Yes, I've been at it for a while.
Right, as Mike O'Sullivan takes over the muscle car, the BMW, got Costas. There's Chris Costas looking at his car and saying to Vernon, okay there. It's the last hour. We're doing well. We're well positioned here. Just keep it on the black stuff, and we'll be well up at the finish of this race. A very reliable little motor car. Mike Nell, that's him in the white overalls, done his stint now in his Porsche 917. That's Stephen Dix. He's the man who does all the work in the car, putting on the rollers just to wheel it back into the pits. Haven't got great steering lock, as Veron Pappas gets back on the circuit, and I'm sure we're going to see them at the end of the race. Sounds good in that Porsche engine.
That's the Lazarus for Sheer GT40.
With him getting ready to go.
George ready to get in the car.
As Ross has come out. Ross has done a good job. He spun it once, but he's done a good job. They're keeping it there. They're lying at the moment in 9th position. Very good position. That car. What a beautiful car. Also just driven up from Port Elizabeth 4 days ago, Dave.
The two cars were built together. I, in fact, saw them down in the factory way back in March.
Yeah.
And they were just built alongside each other. There's the 956 now, the headlights on and the dry conditions. Now he's starting to get a move on. He's got to make up 4 laps. And let's see if he can do it.
Right, they're still going on. There's the Ferdi Fanique car. We normally see him in a P4 Ferrari as well. Mercedes comes through. There's Denzel Barner from Zim, as we keep saying. And the 914s come through, and the little Wenzel Norman TRD Toyota. That was the original colours of those cars.
Indeed it was. And you can see the cars, of course, although this race doesn't run into the dark, everybody with their lights on as the weather is very, very dark indeed. So perhaps there's going to be more rain. We'll have to wait and see.
And the Mark du Toit Ben van der Westhuizen Dart is giving a good account of itself. And we haven't seen this car before. Yeah. Terry Allen in the Morgan.
And he's driving single-handed as he gets passed by, that's the Repsol GT40.
No, we haven't seen him either. So there's 2 cars coming to frame there. Must be fairly wet sitting in the open there, Dave, with all that rain coming in.
I think you get quite a damp day out.
Understatement. And another one, John Bird in the Jag as well. Here's Lindenberg, well placed at the moment. He's lying in 2nd position, as we've seen. And they give a good account of himself. It's Anthony Corrin still at the wheel of this car. No, it's Peter Lindenberg. He's at the wheel of this car. He's going to bring it through to the finish. What a beautiful looking motor car. As you say, those 2 cars, that and the George Fouché car, the Los Angeles car, was built and brought to the circuit just 4 days ago. Right, the 956, lovely to have it here, racing here in South Africa, the Wannenberg little Escort. And around the outside goes the air-conditioned Frank Copping Renault. Right, we've just got 10 minutes of this race to go. Normally a sting in the tail of a long-distance race as people start to get tired. Oh, here's problems.
This is Oliver Delay in his Porsche from the relay team. Looks like he's lost the whole of the rear bodywork, but I think he's had an off there, Roger.
It normally looks worse than it actually is. I mean, so it's bodywork and that type of thing. The others get their lights on now. It's getting into evening. It'll be 6:30 coming up.
Look at that Mazda flame out. That's spectacular.
Spectacular. You can see it under the motor car. Well, it's 22 on the bonnet, 109 on the doors, and actually in the program is number 76. So take your pick.
Well, we could have worked that out, given them another 5 hours, I'm sure.
Right, here it is. Well, I don't think it's raceable at the moment. It actually looks worse than it is. I'm sure they'll get another bonnet on there. Anyway, Oliver Delay's had a very good day in this car. he did well in a sprint race as well.
But it looks like there's quite severe damage to the rear subframe, but they are in a relay, so they can take out the other car, and there goes Mike Nell.
Oliver, we're talking 6 minutes to go. What happened there?
I don't know, the brakes started overheating and I started getting brake fade and I started going one lap slowly and then the brakes would cool down a bit and I push again and then the brakes would start fading and then I was just pacing behind the one Tiga was coming up and every time it came up behind me I started going and he came up and I accelerated too hard in the top corner there and she broke and I couldn't control it, but I hit the wall. Not too bad. Just the back bonnet, not the end of the world.
Well, here comes the George Fashie car. He's now got up to 7th position. Lights are blazing. There's 2 white stripes on the front of the Jimmy Price. Colin Lazarus' car still going well. What a driver they got at the wheel of this car. As we said earlier, one of South Africa's finest exports we had. Here comes the 3rd place man, Peter Lindenberg, in the yellow GT40. And we've just got minutes of this race to go at the moment. Bernie Tolanas is 4 laps ahead of France Pretorius, but we've got drama in the pits.
Drive shaft's broken. Bernard just said that the drive shaft or CV is broken because it's got an LS. There's no drive through the gearbox. So what we'll do now is we'll just push it across, wait for the 4 minutes and then push it across.
And it's been going so well.
It's been absolutely brilliant.
And the car to drive itself, great.
The car is absolutely lovely to drive. Even the tyres, it's been the same, so consistent, so unbelievable. Yeah. So really a pity.
Yeah. But the other thing about it is you had a 4-lap lead. And you might just do it. I mean, you might just do it.
No, I don't think so. Look, I don't know what they're going to do now. They'll penalise us for pushing the car as well. So I don't know what the penalty on that will be. So we'll see. So close, but yet so far. So
it was bad luck. It really is unbelievable stuff. So we've got France Pretorius. If that car stays in the pits and doesn't get across the line, there comes the winner. It's France and his son, Ruan Pretorius. A great performance. They were down in 4th. They had slow tyre changes, and they are back in 1st position, provided they do enough laps before the finish, and we've only got minutes to go.
Well, of course, they can pull in about 3 laps in the next 6 minutes. They will be able to get to the lead.
And of course, Tolanas will probably get a laps penalty for push if they're going to push across the line. The fact the start-finish line goes right through that pit wall and right across the pit road. So that is actually classed as finish. Oh, and he's looking like he's running out of petrol. Veron Pappas, when you start going left and right, it's normally to find the fuel. It's starting to surge, Dave.
It looks like it, and the lights there now, that's the GT40 of Lindenberg scything his way through the traffic. It's not long to go now. There's Stefan Pusheves in the 84
And he's looking
course.
skittish there too. He's not going as quick. Look at that. He's only staying with those other Porsches and that as he comes through. And here comes...
Roger, it's raining. It's raining again. This is a real sting in the tail for this race.
And the whole thing, it can change all these orders in this race if they don't keep it on the tar, the black stuff. Look, he's doing virtually the same speed as that little Renault as they come towards us. But it's just survival now to the finish. The line is not far away. The flag will be out shortly. It's going to be France Pretorius, I'm sure, because Tolanas can't move out of the pits. The Marc du Toit, Ben van der Westhuizen and Dart has gone very well in this race. And so is Eddie Roux. He's the 928 Porsche just behind there, lying in 6th position. He stays on the tar. He's going to come home in 6th position. Brilliant stuff there, Dave.
And he's just behind Renel there in the other Porsche. Of course, they've all got to hope they stay on the road.
Here's the flag, and France Pretorius, his son Ruan, take the flag and win his 2nd 3-hour in a row. And Bernie Tolanas getting that little push is going to penalise him. He'll push him back one more lap. It's a pity they led most of this race. There they go across the line, and they've come home in 2nd position overall. Corin Lindenberg 3rd, then it was Nel Frost and Delay. The toy combination with Ben van der Westhuizen was 5th overall. Brilliant drive. Eddie Roux and Lucky came through 6th in the 928. Denzel Varner from Zim was 12th, and Costas and Veron Pappas 13th. Well done to the Pretorius family, France. You had a lot of pit stops and you still made it.
Yeah, I'm exceptionally happy that we finished. When Ron was recording excellent times, when I went out, we hit rain. It was wet through Goodyear, impossible through the S's and coming down the mine shaft. I then suggested you go on wets. The moment we put the wets on, you got a puncture. So we've had an extra pit stop.
Yeah, you did, eh? I mean, it's all drama the whole way through 3 hours, eh, Ru?
Yeah, no, it was interesting race. Very difficult race with the traffic. The traffic is, well, it was to us is very slow.
I think all the leaders suffered with that, though.
Yeah, no, I'm sure everybody suffered. And then also well done to Neil and Bernard, who on the last freaking 10 minutes.
It was 4 minutes to the end.
4 minutes to the end they broke, so well done to them as well. But yeah, that's how it is.
You know, 3-hour races have always got drama near the end, the sting in the tail. But it couldn't have come at a worse time, Bernie. You're leading by 4 laps.
Yeah, well, it happens. We put new CV joints on this morning before the 3-hour. I was worried whether they were going to last for the full time, and as you saw, it didn't. But this time it was the left one. Earlier today was the right one, but we replaced both of them.
And that car still got legs, eh?
Yes, it has got legs. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you guys were doing a great job. And Neil, I saw your face when you saw Bernie come into place. You're just downtrodden there. You couldn't believe it. I mean, it's been a great drive.
Yeah. Look, I've just really enjoyed myself, and from when Bernie asked me to come and ride, it was just great with us riding back together. You know, when I went to join Ian and Bernard with the Shelbys, we raced together for 2 or 3 years. So it was lovely just racing with him again today and sharing the car.
It's a 3-hour race with a sting in the tail. This couldn't be beaten. I mean, there you're lying third, Peter, and suddenly you slowed.
Coming out of the last turn on the second last lap, I had a blowout on the back tyre, right back. And I knew I had 1 lap to go, and I had to make a decision. Do I go slowly and wait for the winner and cross the line, or do I cross the line and get in 1 more lap? I thought, no, I better get in 1 more lap just to make sure of my position. So I guess that last lap took about 7 minutes. But
there you came out in third. And what do you reckon caused the puncture?
We definitely went over something because the tyre's still in good nick. There's just a slice across the tyre. So I went over something.
Great racing, wonderful stuff here at the 9-hour Revival Race Meeting at Kyalami, brought to you thanks to the support given by Kyalami and all the other sponsors. Next week, more 9-hour Revival racing from East London, and if you thought it rained at Kyalami, wait until we get to the coast. And don't forget, the Nedbank Gauteng Motor Show is going to take place at the end of April 2009.